Hello Wastrels, Kato Genesis here, and Fallout 4's settlement system is a lot. Settlers alone can do so many things, and that's what this guide is about. This is not a beginner's guide on settlement building, to be clear, but settlers specifically. I do have you covered there though if you need a more general how-to on settlements, and you can find my beginner's guide for settlements linked below. In this guide, I'll be showing you everything you should know about settlers. This will include things like how to recruit more, assigning them jobs, types of assignments they can have, creating supply lines, how and where to use shipments, where to find unique settlers, and some other tips along the way. And if any of you veterans of Fallout 4 found yourselves here, please share your own knowledge below in relation to settlers and managing them. Let's begin. First and foremost, if you want to assign jobs to settlers, you need some recruits first. Yes, this is basic stuff, but bear with me as I want to cover all the bases. Sturgis does go over this after you rescue the Quincy survivors from Concord and meet them in Sanctuary during the quest called Taking Point. For Sanctuary and any future settlements you wish to populate, you'll need a recruitment radio beacon. You can find said beacon under Power Miscellaneous in the build menu. It takes circuitry, crystal, copper, steel, ceramic, and rubber to build. The beacon will also need 1 point of power to function, so a small generator will provide what you need. Place the generator near the beacon and wire them together, and over time, its radio signal will bring in generic settlers to help out with your settlement. Some settlers are unique characters in the world, like Sheffield from Diamond City. These characters need to be manually invited to your settlement, and will mostly operate like other settlers when they arrive. Mostly. Companions and automatrons will also count towards your settlement's population if you've sent them there. We'll get into how to increase the max population later. As for right now, let's delegate some tasks. To assign a settler to a task, go into build mode at your settlement and highlight the settler in question. From here, you'll see their assignments if they have any, and the objects they're using will also have an outline. If the assignment is showing a red Vault Boy icon, that means they don't have one yet. You can then use your activate button shown at the bottom of the HUD to assign, then walk over to a resource or station you want them to use and press your activate button again. The settler should get straight to work, and they should now have a green icon as their assignment when you look at them in build mode. As to what kinds of assignments settlers can have, we'll get to that shortly. If you're someone who has the Vault-Tec DLC or Game of the Year edition for Fallout 4, you can make assignments even easier with a Vault-Tec population management system. If this terminal is available, it will be under Power Miscellaneous with the cog symbol next to it in the build menu. Placing and powering this terminal will not only let you assign your settlers from one place, but you'll be able to check the overview of how many settlers you have assigned to each task. This terminal also has VIP tracking for companions in case you misplaced one of your companions, or all of them, somehow. Once you have placed crops in your settlement, like mute fruit, corn, potatoes, razor grain, etc., new settlers will automatically be assigned to them since food is important for a settlement's success. Some crops, like corn, provide 0.5 food, while others, like mute fruit, provide 1 unit of food each. Regardless of which food you've placed, each settler will provide a max of 6 food. While the settlers can keep themselves fed when assigned to food, unfortunately most of the extra isn't automatically stored like purified water would be, and the produce will need to be picked by the player if they wish to use it in cooking or crafting. In case you're wondering too, water doesn't need anyone assigned to it, as water pumps automatically add to your water count. Scavenging stations are exactly as they sound. Assigning a settler to this station will passively generate raw materials over time, which will be deposited directly into the workshop storage. To make it appear like they're being useful, settlers that are assigned to scavenging stations will wander around your settlement intermittently and return to the scavenging station to break down the materials. This is mainly for show, it is still time-based. Defenses can be set up with automated turrets, but if you're low on materials, you can use a settler instead to provide 6 defense each. If you set up 3 barricades and assign a settler to one of them, they'll add to your settlement's defense and patrol between these 3 barricades. If you know where your enemies come from, you'll be able to set up a patrol path that makes the most sense. If you've invested further into settlement perks, you can set up shops in your settlement, which will provide you a store to make purchases from and create an income of caps for you over time. The bottle caps that accumulate from assigned shops will end up in your workshop storage under the miscellaneous category. Beds are something your settlers will just claim whenever available, but if you've got a specific bed you like to call your own and find a settler lying in it, you can simply assign them to a different bed as you would with other tasks. This, of course, only changes their sleeping situation and won't change their main job. Often, settlers who arrive are under-equipped to deal with attackers. Unless you decide to invest in a wall of turrets, your settlers are your main defense force. Most times, simply speaking to a settler will open up a trade window with them, where you can see their pitiful default gear. Unlike companions, settlers will only need a handful of ammunition to endlessly operate the weapon they're given. So, if you set them up with a minigun or incinerator, they'll only need a couple bits of heavy ammo to use it indefinitely. At first, I recommend just setting up your assigned defenders with the best gear, then slowly gearing up the rest of your settlers with equipment you've picked up off of your attackers, or legendary items you don't need. The game will alert you if your settlements are under attack while you're away, and if you don't go to that settlement, the game will calculate success based on your settlement's defense rating and how many settlers are present. If you don't want to worry about your stuff being broken when you're not present for attacks, just ensure that your population and your defense have a combined total of 100 or more. That is, of course, easier said than done, so let's look at increasing that population. Your maximum settler count per settlement is 10 plus your current charisma. So if you take a glance at your Pip-Boy and look at your charisma stat, add that to 10, and that is your maximum settler capacity. The reason I said current charisma is because bonus points to charisma also count to your settler capacity. While chem bonuses obviously aren't permanent, they can still be utilized to fill up a settlement by transferring settlers while this bonus is active. To do this, head to the settlement that you wish to take settlers from. Use your great mentats, fancy glasses, lovely dress, basically whatever raises your charisma temporarily, and then go into build mode. Highlighting a settler will give you the option to move them at the bottom of your HUD. So with your extra charisma, you should be able to send even more people to your main settlement. Just be sure you have enough possible assignments for them when they arrive. Oh, and probably beds and food and water and stuff. If you manage to reach 6 base charisma, you'll be able to take your settlements to the next level with supply lines via the local leader perk. Supply lines allow you to connect your settlements so that they can share materials. Keep in mind that this does not physically move all the materials and instead gives you access to them when it comes to building and crafting. To set up a supply line, go into build mode and highlight a settler like you would for assignments, but now you should see an option below that says supply line. Selecting this and another available settlement will turn them into a provisioner, who will then travel between the two settlements. Keep in mind that when you assign a provisioner, they still count towards the settlement's population in the place they started. I personally recommend setting up a remote trade hub settlement where all your provisioners come from, so you can maintain your population at your main settlement. At the very least, a provisioner hub can keep things organized. If you wish to see your active supply lines, you can toggle them on from the map on your Pip-Boy after you've unlocked them. If you need specific materials or otherwise cannot set up a supply line, shipments are a good solution for this as well, provided you have the caps to afford them, that is. Wasteland merchants will have shipments for specific materials in the junk tab of their inventory occasionally. These are bulk junk items which will be weightless until used in a workshop. If you have several thousand caps and an urge to move to a new settlement, just make a quick trip to Good Neighbor or Diamond City, gather up some shipment slips, and head to your new home with a strong head start. I won't linger too long on the Nuka World stuff, but I did want to mention that the 3 factions of raiders you work with in this DLC also have their own style of settlements with some of their own special resources too. Unlike the base game, however, Gauge and Shank guide you pretty much every step of the way. There are some differences with raider outposts, of course, like for instance, raider settlements have supply line benefits without the need of the local leader perk. You know, for sole survivors with low charisma. But they're also enemies of pretty much everyone else in the Commonwealth. A fun bonus though is that Preston will throw a fit about it and denounce you. If you also like vices, raiders produce both alcohol and chems with the booze still and the pick-me-up station respectively. Like I said though, I shouldn't need to mention much as a lot of what I already covered with the basic settler management applies to raider settlements as well. So have fun being a wasteland terror, if you want. There are unique settlers in Fallout 4, as I mentioned towards the start, but I'm sad to say that generally, the unique settlers in Fallout 4 are buggy, some more than others, and many of them are found in random encounters. Here's the list of recruits that show up in those random encounters. If you find any of these, you might be in the presence of a rare level 4 merchant. Level 4 just means the best merchant inventory, as long as you assign them to the right emporium. Of course, I'm showing that here too because the game gives hints sometimes, but doesn't do enough to distinguish these settlers. While I don't usually bank on something so randomized and buggy, I'll at least mention some unique recruits that are in specific places. I mentioned Sheffield earlier, who is just a named settler recruit with no special skills. He's easy to come across in the Diamond City market as he's the only one wearing tattered rags. Sheffield's small favor for recruitment is just a bottle of Nuka-Cola. After that, you can send him to a settlement of your choice. The Vault-Tec rep is a level 4 trading emporium merchant, and you'll likely bump into him when you go to the upstairs rooms of the Hotel Rexford in Goodneighbor. After some short flabbergasted dialogue with him and a mild charisma check, you'll be able to recruit him to Sanctuary. Then from there you can send him to a settlement of your choosing. If he's posted at a trading emporium, he'll be the envy of any general store for miles. Anne Hargraves is a level 4 clothing emporium merchant and is found at the WRVR broadcast station across the river from Egret Tours Marina. When you have the chance to speak with her and inquire about her past, she'll mention being a seamstress, and you should have the option to recruit her from there. Assigning Anne Hargraves to a clothing emporium will see her selling fancy Minutemen gear and other high-quality clothing if you need to throw ballistic weave on something unassuming, or just dress all your settlers up real fancy. Do you have any other questions related to settlers? If you're a big-brained wastelander and have been helping others in the comments, thank you. If you found this guide useful, entertaining, or both, please show that however you see fit. Among the ways you can is by supporting on Patreon like the legendary local leaders on screen now, including Wasteland Legends, Sven, and Rose. Thank you so very much for watching. I'm Kato Genesis, and may you wander the wasteland like you own it.